We're going to analyze the furthest spin ever by a woman, 2095 from Chase Jackson, and we're going to start right now. Okay, so this is a great throw, obviously the greatest spin ever from a former glider. I want to say she went like 1846, 1848 at the Olympic trials in 2016. Chase Jackson. Now, this throw, absolute bomb. Backs it up like week later, 2094. She's had how many throws over 20 this year? So I want to look at some stuff, and then we're gonna break down her actual throw. After we break down her throw and we analyze it, we check it out, we look at it, I'm going to talk about some different stuff, and then we're going to bring in Christoph Kipp, the biomechanist, who we've had on a podcast multiple different times. And I'm even sitting here wishing that Paul Wilson was on this right now as a call. I feel like we should get Paul Wilson on a podcast and look at some of the movements of Chase and what he looks for as her coach, as he's one of the top 3 coaches in the entire world in shot, so in throws in general. So shout out to Paul Wilson, you grumpy bastard. Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out too, this is a throw at Ironwood, so shout out to Ironwood. I also feel like just being in the US is like nice for big throws. Okay, so she's got the slide, right? She sets this up here. Boom. Shifts over there. Okay. And there's going to be some interesting stuff. I actually believe that this should be known as the Jackson model or the Chase model. Maybe we should call it the Chase model, because there's some stuff I've been talking with Christoph about. By the way, I really like coaching up, and this is me adding in some stuff, so I shouldn't be doing this, but I like coaching a long double support position out of the back. This is good. Okay, so we got this position here. This is her pickup with the right. This is where she's at pickup with that left shoulder. Okay, we get to this point, left knee here. You can see a bit of hip flexion, which we're going to get into later when we start to analyze Christoph's stuff. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Long right leg right there. Okay. That's the left knee. Grounding position here. Slightly past. Left foot height here. Left arm. Notice. This is like where it opens to and stays and closes. You see that left arm, okay, down, and she stays with that until, let's go back and look at how long, if that's her left arm right there, the right leg's back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 frames minimum. I know this isn't scientific, Christoph, but that's just showing how patient she is with that left side. I think that has a lot to do with how far she's freaking throwing. Right here. Now notice her left foot is this height, and then as she stays on, it starts to rise a little bit. So then we see when the left comes down, right there, left shoulder's here. Okay, shots back here. There's a left foot, left arm. And honestly, I think Chase, when I've seen her warming up and stuff like that, it's like watching her warm up is unbelievable. She gets such a good groove and just freaking hammers. Like, look at how long she's just going through. Boom, forward. Good, simple throw. Boom. So, one more time around here, right? Long double support, left opens pretty aggressively, a little bit of a chest forward out of the back, right comes down, right here, super patient, left side, left grounds, right there. Left arm is across. Left or right shot, right side just keeps throttling through for this long, big finish. And she starts this off with the slide. So I think I'm going to pitch this as the chase model. And I would even say that there's a couple throwers right now that are doing this style of throwing. And so based off of what Christoph has said through a couple different discussions, and we're going to look at some of the skeletal analysis that he provides, some of the key positions that he has. But basically, there's a lot of forward angular momentum, meaning, like, as I mentioned, as she goes with a wide right, and I have this like visual imprint right here. She has this wide right out of the back, and then there's bending at the lateral hip as she comes out of the back, right? So she's bending at the hip to go forward, and that enables her to go forward and really get into the circle. And so one of the big things here, now we're going to be looking at what I'm going to use on the screen that you guys are going to see now is going to be the generation and transfer of angular momentum. So we're going to see a 3D view, and I don't know if Christoph has put this up on Instagram. I hope he's not mad that I'm doing this right now. It's okay, Christoph. There's only going to be 1,000 people that watch this. That's mean. But you can see here, okay, how this generation and transfer of angular momentum, and you've got, if we look right here, this sector access view, right? You can see the sector access, which is sort of think like straight out into the sector. And then you got the vertical axis view. And you can see left arm, right leg, left leg comes down, and then how that all transfers into her right side. Okay, so we're even now looking at that vertical axis view. You can start to see how that blue is her left side in the vertical axis view. Maybe the left slightly late, she falls in, and this is what I wanted to start to really talk about. And then let's look at this 3D view, because I think if we put that on repeat, you guys can watch that while I'm ranting. One of the big factors here is that I've always had this anti-fall in from the left side. And then this year, you know, it's funny because I think about in the past, Jacko and back in the day, Adam Nelson back in the day, and I've always had this sort of anti-falling in with your left side point, right? And I think what Christoph and Chase and even looking at like Denny is it does not matter if we're patient with that left side. And I think that there's a point of control that you need to have. Like the left foot probably still needs to ground prior to the outside of the toe board. But even looking at someone like Pippery or Roger or Darlin Romani or Chase or Jacko back in the day before he really switched a little bit of his movement pattern, Adam Nelson. These are like patterns that I maybe have coached and even Hoffa to a point in opposition to. I don't like the right grounding too far. I don't like the left being too deep. But like if you're still patient with the left side at the front and you can control that, it's probably okay. And if we establish that like there's tendencies that throwers are going to have, there's models that might fall into those tendencies, I think that's sort of where I'm starting to see my technical mindset is like, instead of being like this model of going like it has to be very long with the right leg, down early, hold the left arm, be patient, get the left arm really fast. I think that's a great model, obviously, like that's what I'm coaching towards. But then I also believe there's at least one other shot put model, and I think there's likely 3 discus models that we can work towards and help develop with different athletes. Now, my goal was to show the angular momentum there that Christoph sort of points out in these different scenarios. Now I'm going to share with you guys these key shot positions. And so he goes with, you have your start position, then you have your right pickup, you have your left off, you have your right on, left on, and then the finish, right? And so you can see here through these different positions how even on position 3 at the top, this one right here, it almost looks like she's falling in with that left side and she's a little late. But then you look at this position right here and you can see the right side's still pretty freaking good when the right grounds, right? And I think that's really, really important. And these are different angles too. These are different angles. You can see here, this is the back view, This is the side view. This is the top view. And so you can see it looks like, oh, the left's a little bit late. But guess what, Dane? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if you're patient, you can still increase the acceleration on the finish. And if you're able to be patient, it doesn't. Yes, there's throwers that will accelerate very rapidly and hold that acceleration. There's throwers that'll have a consistent build to a high point of acceleration on the finish. Then there's throwers that might have a high an increase and then a drop off and then another big acceleration, and they fall into those models just like you would see with someone doing a split jerk. Some people have a double curve on their dip of a split jerk. Some people have one, down and up on their split jerk. And so I think that's something that all of these videos from Christoph, looking at Pippery, looking at Steen, looking at Chase, is starting to really change my mind on all these things. And then it enables us with our high school kids to look at what are their tendencies and where they would fit in. So I wanted to go over this because even here, like, this is the key right here, this throw, this position, that's the position, that's the key. And if you can hit that position right there and right here, this is really the key. If this position gets hit, then you hit this position and it's over. It's like these two positions, right? Where's the left side when the left leg grounds, and then how are you squaring up on it? Yeah, and that's what really truly does matter. Now, finally, I want to get into this really cool thing that I'm sharing from Christoph here as well, which is the breakdown of Chase from a slow motion, having this like skeletal model here. So I'm going to play this without anything on the screen so that we can all enjoy it without me annoying you, although I'm still going to keep talking. So Christoph, thank you so much for all this information. Thank you for caring about the throws. Thank you for putting this stuff out there. Thank you for providing this. Now you can see that turn down, she stays back, and everything gets transferred forward. So the interesting part I think about with the discus is that when you have an angular momentum that comes, like you go wide, and then you also have a height created from like the high point, and then how do you transfer that into the sector momentum or forward into the sector? I almost feel like Chase does that with her left hip with the lean from the torso. And then that creates this acceleration in, and then she's patient, and then just uses that at the finish to really accelerate quickly. And it's her strength. It's her ability to catch that position and to roll forward. And so, in my opinion, we actually have a thrower that throws like this, a high school girl named Olivia Noecker. She got 5th at States as a freshman. She threw 40 feet this year. And it's like she won the freshman national championship with New Balance. And I'm like, in the past, I would want to change her technique. Now, nope. I'm going to talk to Sam Weeks. I'm going to say, Sam, she's following Chase's model. She's the Chase model. Olivia's the Chase model. And that's how we got to roll forward with her technique, because that's her tendency. We can see her tendency now. And if she can get stupid strong, now Chase has like some of the greatest strength probably ever of a female thrower. But if we can get her close, it's going to help her with the feeling. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Look at the arrows too there with the red arrow, green arrow. She sort of steps, comes this way out of the back. Boom, turns, patient, long, down, hold, smack. So I really, really just love this throw. I love how smooth it is, how repetitive it is, how consistent she's been all year. I think they're going to keep building for huge results going into Tokyo this year. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens with Sarah Minton, with all these girls. The women's discus is absolute insanity right now. And I really believe we're on the cusp of, she's going to throw 21. I think we're going to see more than just Chase throwing 21. I think we're going to see 3 or 4 women throw 21 meters in the next 2 years. I truly believe that's going to happen. And I think Chase is going to be the first one through there. Obviously, she's thrown 20.95. So I hope this helps. Coach Paul Wilson, great job with Chase. Great work with everything that you have done over there. If you guys need help with your programming, head over to throwsuniversity.com. We do custom programming. We do custom analysis where we break down your technique to help you guys rip some monster throws. Until next time, peace.